Hi, stay-at-home dad gamer here with some more impressions from PAX 2013. Next up is Ryse, Son of Rome on the Xbox One. And as I did with Knack before, I will first off say that the Xbox One controller was actually really comfortable. Like, I liked it too, just like I like the PS4 controller. I would say the main point for me were those sticks. They felt really good, like the two analog sticks. They were really comfortable, really responsive. They felt good. So, good improvement there. And I would say that they were both actually really good controllers from what little I was able to play. I don't know how well they hold up, but they at least held up for, both of them held up for 4 days of constant use, so maybe that's a decent sign. Anyway, back toward the game. So it's you might have saw it at the either the E3 Microsoft thing or their little demonstration of the Xbox One beforehand. So it's like a kind of like a God of War wannabe game, but it was actually pretty fun. And I was surprised that it had at least online co-op or maybe at least LAN co-op, but it was not same. I don't know if it has split screen co-op, but it definitely had local co-op because that was pretty cool. They basically paired people up in twos, and combat was pretty fun. It did cue the button presses though, so if you like mashed on X or whatever, like when you stopped, it would usually do one more attack. But you had your weak attack, and then you had like your block breaker attack, and then you had your execute button, and then A was like your block / parry maneuver, and that was really responsive. So like you could actually in mid combo, if a guy's attacking you, you could like hit A, and it would like auto parry the guy. Like not he would face the correct guy and parry. Like it was really responsive, and I like that you could actually cut out of the animation to do that. So the combat was pretty fun. The executions worked pretty well, except for there's like, I think they call them like champions or chieftains or whatever, but they're guys with they're dual wielding. They have two swords and they're on fire. Like the swords are on fire, and you can't like attack them. You have to block break them first. But the thing it took me a little bit to realize is that one block break doesn't always do it. So usually you have to like hit Y a couple times to open them up before you can hit them with X. And then usually it's like, it'll like hit them twice with Y, then you can hit them like once or twice with X, then Y again. So it's kind of annoying to do that. And after a couple of hits of the combo, he would have a red skull over his head, which is, I think you can execute him. I don't know, but it didn't seem to work. And if I hit him a couple more times, then it became a white skull, like all the other guys had. And sometimes I still couldn't execute him right away. It would take like a couple seconds to like register that I could do it. So I don't know what that's about, but it was kind of annoying because those guys were pretty dangerous. And the level that I did was in an arena with another guy. And you can go, if one of the players runs out of health, you can go over and get him up. And you get him up actually pretty quickly, which is really nice. And executions give health to you and your partner, so they're pretty important to do. And they look kind of flashy too. And they had like multiple, like you could do like several attacks in one execution to a guy. So I would like execute him. I'd like hit him up or I could like cut his arm off, and then I could like hit him up in the air, and then I could like cut him when he was falling down or something. I'm not sure how scripted those are, and I wasn't sure what buttons to hit, so I don't know if there's different things you can do during them. And for throwing the guy up in the air and then like stabbing him in the air, like it was a little anticlimactic to just kind of hit him while they were falling down. I was hoping to like cut him in half or like impale him or I don't know. I'm hoping that they either have tutorials in the game or a button queue to what I'm supposed to hit there, or explain if there are specific buttons, because they still died, but it wasn't quite as flashy as I would expect. But other than that, the objectives on the levels that I saw and the level I played were pretty clearly defined. It would have, like it would point you to what you had to do. The level I did not play this level, but I did see it several times while waiting in line. But there's one where you had to hit oil pots, and I would say the only negative part of that was you would go up to them, but in most games you have to like interact to knock something like that over to use it. But that one you had to like hit it, but only like from the back, which makes sense. You're knocking the oil pot over, but it didn't like tell you that, and it didn't seem to give you any hints if you were struggling. Like the guy had to go over and like tell people with headphones on, which doesn't work very well. You kind of had to point to it, and they seemed to get it. And also there was a part where there were mounted crossbow, or no, there were like enemies with crossbows or bow and arrows, and you had to get on like a mounted crossbow to shoot them because you don't really have a range attack on your own. The problem is that there's two of them, and that they tended to like stagger their fire enough that the person, this happened like to several people I saw, so it wasn't just like one person being stupid, but they'd get on the turret to shoot the guy, and right as they're aiming at the guy, they would get hit with one of the arrows, which would knock them off the thing. So they get back on, and then another one, and it just kept doing that. And I was like, God, I hope they change the rate of fire so the guys don't, so you get at least a second to aim. Like the people were aiming, like they'd aim pretty quickly up to them, but then they would get hit, and you can't like block it or anything. So I don't know. But other than that, it did kind of play like God of War and a tiny bit like Clan of Champions. I don't know how many people have played that. I did review it on my site, but it kind of reminded me of that, where it's kind of visceral combat and a bit not super fluid. It did, like strikes kind of had weight to them, I would think. But I did like the game. It was pretty fun. I don't know if it's necessarily one I would get at launch. Like, it was fun, and I would love to play with some of my friends, but I don't know if it's, at least what I saw, I don't know if it would really justify like the higher price tag, because I assume it's going to come out at $60. But it seems like a fun game. I'd probably get it when it's cheaper. It's a launch game. It will do that. But I had fun with that totally not God of War game, Ryse, Son of Rome. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to write them below, and I will try to address them. Thank you very much. Goodbye.